G'day guys and welcome back to this week's fishing report. Let's get straight into what's been biting around Sydney. There's been some really nice tuna being caught out offshore. Again, I know I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, but there's been some really nice yellowfin caught out offshore over the last weekend. Some fish even on top water lures, some really nice yellowfin tuna being caught using top water lures out deep in our ocean. Again, finding the breaks in water temperature have been the key. Finding that slightly warmer water where the current seems to be flowing a little bit stronger, using your rip charts and all that sort of stuff has been able to be helpful in finding some really nice tuna. Again, the bluefin is still around. Trolling for them using like X-Wrap lures have been really successful as well. So if tuna is your go, head out and give that a go. The snapper again have been producing some really nice fish. Not so much in the inshore shallow reefs, so inside 30 metres. They've been out a lot deeper and particularly south of Cronulla. The reefs in about 40 to 60 metres have been producing some really nice snapper. Not even in the early morning, but mid-morning and mid-afternoon as well into sunset. So some fish being caught on jigs and deep dropping some baits as well. So some really nice fish out offshore. Moving on into the river, there's some really nice salmon still around. Again, using your sounder to be able to find the schools. Occasionally they might be surface feeding. They haven't been surface feeding as often recently over the last couple of weeks compared to say the last couple of months. They're definitely still around. You just need to use your sounder and find the schools of salmon that are hanging in deeper parts of our rivers. So Botany Bay, around the runways, there's been some really nice salmon, and in Port Hacking, around Burraneer Bay and stuff like that, has been really good for our salmon. Sounding up has been the key. Dropping baits down, dropping soft plastics down, and just working them vertically has been proving really successful on the salmon. So that's the fishing report for this week. Let's get straight into the weather. Saturday's looking really nice this week with some nice wind and swell about. The only thing about the wind is it is quite variable on Saturday, so please be careful. Make sure you check the wind before you head out, either in the morning or late afternoon, or any time of the day that you're going to be going. We've got a tide change around sunrise. We've got a moonrise also around sunrise, and then in the afternoon we got a tide change again around sunset, and then we got a roughly about our midday tide change. So some really nice things to talk about in regards to that for our morning and our afternoon bites, and obviously we have our midday bite as well. So if I'm planning on going fishing on Saturday, I'm personally going to be going in the afternoon. I've got a little theory, and I'm very interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are out there. So don't forget, comment below what your thoughts are on this. Now, I think the lead up to the full moon is a really good period to be fishing, but I think it's also a very good period to be fishing only in the afternoons. Not saying that you won't catch fish in the morning, you still definitely will, and you will catch fish throughout the day. But the peak window, I think, for the lead up to the full moon is definitely in the afternoon. And it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. Comment down below if you agree with me. If you disagree, I would love to hear what you guys think, because the more feedback we get and the more people we have in this conversation, the better we're going to understand what we think about it. I think the afternoon, purely because I've had some really good snapper sessions in the afternoon around a full moon, and also some really nice river sessions around a full moon in the afternoon. I keep a diary of every single fishing session that I go out on, and I write down all sorts of details, and then I can go back and have a look. And every time I go back and have a look at full moon sort of stuff, and around the full moon, in this particularly the lead up like it is this weekend, I feel like the afternoons have been producing some better fishing. I've still had some really good morning fishing around the full moon. 100% I've had some good sessions, but they've been less consistent as compared to the afternoon. So interested to hear your thoughts on that. Moving on into the Sunday, we have some really nice weather, particularly for the afternoon. The morning doesn't look as good to be able to go out and have a fish. We've got 30-kilometre west to southwesterly winds. And if you know anything about that's generally going to be roughly around there. It's not going to be lighter than that. It's going to be hanging around that 30-kilometre per hour range. So for me, it's just not comfortable enough. And yes, you could go fishing those moderate winds, so that 30-kilometre winds, just finding your westerly corners and obviously your southwesterly corners, so southwest Warrenora River, and heading further up the Georges River towards like East Hills, Padstow, Reesby area there. You often find some nice patches that are protected from winds like that. So those areas are really good when the wind is obviously up a bit more. And again, if you've got a bigger boat and you're really comfortable and all that sort of stuff, 30-kilometer winds might not be a big issue for you. But for me, my open boat, 30-kilometer winds just make it a bit annoying to fish more than anything. Again, we've got a beautiful tide change in the morning. We've got a moonrise in the morning, a tide change in the afternoon, and a sunset, obviously, and then our tide change right around midday. The only difference with Sunday, obviously, our tide changes will shift a little bit. That afternoon tide change is a bit further away from sunset than I would like. It is a lead up to a tide change. Again, interesting to see what your thoughts are in the lead up to the full moon, because we are literally on Sunday. The full moon will happen on the Sunday night into Monday, so be interesting to see your thoughts and opinions on fishing around the full moon. Again, if I'm planning to go out on Sunday, purely for me, if I'm looking at the weather, and again, this weather could change on Sunday morning, so please check the weather apps and make sure that you're going out in a safe manner. And if it changes and the wind is a lot lower in the morning and you want to go out in the morning, go for it. I'm not going to stop you at all. But for me, the prediction is looking like the afternoon with the wind dying off as the afternoon goes, which is a really, really nice time for me to go fishing. Head at about 1:30, 2 o'clock, fish for a couple hours all the way into sunset, and the wind dies off as we go in towards sunset. It can be some really, really nice fishing. So, yeah. Plans overall, snapper in the afternoons, most likely, depending on conditions. I'm going to go outshore, have a look. The swell looks really, really good over the weekend. A less than a metre swell on Saturday and just over a metre swell on Sunday, which is perfect. Again, I stress for you to look at your weather apps to make sure you're reading the weather. Don't just trust what I'm saying. Trust your weather apps as well, because they could change from when this will be released for everyone. Father's Day is coming up, and Seven Seas Apparel have the perfect gear to be able to deck your dads, your fathers out with anything to be able to go out and have a fish. So don't forget to head over to sevenseasapparel.com. Use code REALFISHING10 at checkout to save yourself 10% off anything Seven Seas. And that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Hope you're all enjoying it. I'm getting some really, really nice feedback of some people catching some nice fish based upon the advice that I'm giving. Again, my advice is only from my experiences. I'm happy to share all of my sort of tips and stuff like that, because it's going to make your time on the water more enjoyable. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about the full moon. Very interesting to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions. And we see you next week for the fishing report. Peace.